Welcome to part 5 of the Gravity Sketch surfacing tutorial.
Oh, that actually looks like it can be all one from here all the way up and then down like that. I could probably end it right there. Yeah, I'll just do that. That'll be a tricky one. Okay. I'm not worrying about the left side because that'll be hidden by that inner surface there. We'll just make this little kind of draft surface. And that. Actually, I think that's transparent. One of these is transparent. So I think that's what was going on with that. Yeah, that's what it is. We'll make that all there. I forget what each one of these is, but that's much better. I just noticed I was seeing through that surface. So, looks like there's light coming in from somewhere. Maybe it's just the way it's shadowed or shaded in there. Okay, we'll just making that sketch line a little more visible. Just so you read that break a little bit more. Okay. And then this one, I'm going to do it in one, I think. And I could spin it. Yeah, it's good to kind of test out your movements. You think if you're going to be able to do it, and then I'm going to spin the scene that way and come around it. So that's good. It's definitely new physical mechanics. That's definitely a new way to model. So you got to get your muscles and your arms ready to do that. You're definitely going to spend more time with your hands just free floating in space, and it takes a little bit of getting used to doing this, especially with these surfaces. But it's not super terrible. I think you get used to it. Like any software, it's going to take some time to learn it. I think I've got maybe a couple hundred hours in the software already. That's the good thing about Steam. It tells you how long you're spending in your apps and games. So I think that's all right like that. So yeah, you'll just have to spend more time with it to get used to it. I know a lot of people, you're not going to learn Photoshop overnight. Um, so you definitely have to put some time in with this. It's just a new learning opportunity. Uh, Stay ahead of the curve and learn some new tools. I think ooh, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to snap. I think I'm going to try and just get these points. Oh, actually, they won't snap to each other. I'm noticing. You can see the two black circles. It only snaps to things that are not in it. So I'll just snap that one to there. Yeah, I think I'll have to do this. Just have that float a little bit there. That's why I wanted this overbuilt. I knew I wasn't going to be able to get all of that to come this way. So I'm just going to pull it that way. I could probably get this a little bit more there. Not bad. Sorry. Okay. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think I do want a flat kind of around this, like another kind of wall, just to give this some thickness. But I'll probably do that later when I take this a little bit further. I'm going to bring this one into Modo um, and retopologize it and rebuild it. So that'll probably be in part 5 or 6. depending how long it takes to do these surfaces. But I'll put it at the end of this video. I'll let you guys know. So if you're interested in using Modo, I'll go through some of the tools that I use to do surfacing. I'm just going to do this one real quick. This is a pretty straightforward surface. And then from Modo, I'll show some of my process. I'm thinking I'm going to convert it to NURBS geometry and trim it up in Alias and maybe bring it into Vred or Visualize or something, just to set up a quick kind of real-time scene, so you can kind of evaluate this with more realistic shaders and environments, add some more detail. Alright, so that looks good. So it'll be quite a few more videos after this you guys can enjoy. And it'll probably be like a 10-part series with a couple hours of video. So I hope everybody enjoys that. So this one I'm just going to come all the way back here, and I'll add a couple more points through here. Yeah, it's gonna get tight, but I want to define this lower here. So I might pull these points that way, just to indicate this there. And it should fade as it gets to here. I might change the shape of this curve just to fit this. Oh, it looks like that's as big as it goes. There we go. And you can always tune that shape up later. I think that's going to be okay. I'm just making this in here a little softer. I'll just have to edit these. You can see it added this row all the way up there. That's one thing I don't like about when these points are added, but that should be fixed at some point in the near future. We're just gonna put that there, and then I'll edit this. So you just have to go and move the points, push and pull the points, always that. Get something where you want it and then fine tune it. That's where all the time is really spent, is just kind of moving these things. I think that is okay, or looks okay. I'm not saying pushing and pulling points is okay. It's never fun. Excuse me. It's never fun, but I think that's gonna look pretty good. This is a little bigger than I'm thinking I wanted it, so maybe I'll make this just a smidge smaller, which then I could do with these points there. And yeah, that's gonna go there. That should be all right. I think I'll pull these out, and then I'm going to just pull a couple more loops off of this and bend it here just to finish off this corner. Not perfect, but I think that should do it. It's just an indication of that. I think I'm gonna pull this curve out. Oh, okay, so there's a couple points there. And that's one thing too, you could just use the sketch curve to kind of hide uglier areas. So that's pretty good. I think I'm just gonna do a little blackout surface back here. I'm just gonna drag out the surface. I wasn't paying attention to that to make it a little splatter just to black out this area. Maybe I'll make some mesh detail later on, not in Gravity Sketch, but as I get into modeling this more. Yeah, that looks really cool. I like the aggressive angle of this. Then maybe this is a brake cooling duct on the side, and this is for engine intake, or maybe it's electric, maybe it's to cool the batteries, cool the motors, something. Yeah, that's good. I like that. I think I'm going to go back to the silver and just kind of make some grill surfaces here. You know, when you get into the small detail stuff, you can always spend a lot of time. So I think right now it's nice to just block in the volumes and kind of throw out ideas of where you want things. That's what designing, you know, at this stage. Yeah, I did. I mean, I did do that sketch. I thought it would help me speed things up here, but like I said, I like to figure a lot of stuff out. I'm not too good at winging it, so I guess that's one of my weaknesses, I could say. Actually, that color doesn't look correct. I think I'm just going to make all of these maybe a little darker. They're definitely all different, different materials. We'll go with that one. Yeah, that looks better. I think that should all be the same. Yeah, I think those sketch lines had a different material finish on them, so they looked a bit odd, and they're actually in shadow, so they don't look that great. I'm gonna go back and make a little blackout surface here. That could just be a single surface. That looks good. About 40 minutes. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of talking while I'm doing this, so it should take less time to do this. I think I'm going to go for a darker gray for in here, and then we'll kind of come around this corner. I'll just do this. Maybe there's a different material in there. Maybe those grill pieces are like brushed aluminum, and this is maybe a carbon fiber, or maybe just like a matte black or something. That's pretty good. Cool. Just gonna come in and tune some of these up. Get this more in line with that curve. Kind of want it to splay out or fan out over here, and this could be there. So these are close together. Edit those. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Let's save that. Oh, I think I'm up to like version 6. I don't know. Yeah, that'll be that. Yeah, that's looking cool. It's actually a bit Pontiac now that I look at it. Well, like dragon nostril type. But I think that's okay. We'll leave it as is. And then I'll just add a little another black surface back here to black that out, just to block off that area. again, you'd probably have some molding or kind of cladding or garnish around this, whatever you want to call it, just to, and maybe some mesh detail to help guide the air in there. Same within here, but that's detail stuff we can sketch on or come up with some graphics for. I think I'll make this headlight dark as well in here. Oops, use that. I always find it's better to use a darker color for headlights, just when you're trying to figure out the graphics of it. Lighter line, or like if you do like a white, like I did with the sketch lines, kind of looks a bit odd. So headlights actually have a lot of depth to them and a lot of detail that make them seem darker than they are. So I'm just gonna make all that stuff a little darker. Oops. Put that back to the green. And I didn't pull that quite all the way up. We can edit this a little. Yeah, that looks good. I think that'll work. Maybe I'll make this, yeah, we'll keep it that gray for now. Oops. I said not to do white, but I'm going to see what that looks like. It's not the entire headlight. Oop, actually, we can keep that surface. We'll just play with the colors. That's a bit big for a side marker. I'm just gonna go to that gray, that dark gray. Yeah, that's cool, and you can see the form in there now, which helps. I'll come up with some graphics. I'm actually thinking that this line here needs to be a little lower, but I'll worry about that later. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Definitely getting a Pontiac feel. Less BMW, more Pontiac. That's all right. Actually, maybe this splitter is dark as well. Yeah, I want that. Maybe that'll be carbon fiber all the way around that. Just have to move this point. This doesn't actually seem, it's black. There you go. Yeah, that looks cool. Save. That's another thing. Always save. It sucks if you're into something for an hour and forget to save. So autosave is a pretty nice feature. That's a good recommendation for the Gravity Sketch team. So yeah, now I can start surfacing the rest of it. So that, like sketching, a lot of the detail stuff that took the longest. Surfacing can do that as well, and that looks really nice. I'm happy with that. So obviously, take your time, spend as much time on it as you want, and see what happens. Oops, let's go back to my surface tool. Now I'm just going to do the wheel arch. This one's always kind of a pain. I try to do an even spacing because you'll see the more you draw it out, you'll see the straighter that line gets. So I try and space things fairly evenly, maybe at the size I'm working, maybe 4 or 5 inches apart, just to kind of capture the curvature of this tighter kind of circular wheel arch here. And you can see it's already starting to poke through there. So you might have to go back and edit this. But something like this, I'm never going to do that in one big arm movement. So I use the left grip to move the scene as I build this. All right. Almost there. This is a little tighter, so I'll put a couple points close together. And like that. Whoops. Cool. Oh yeah, you know what? That is transparent. I must have changed the setting. I believe I want it on that one. So one of these is transparent. Yeah, it's definitely that far end one. It's, yeah, okay. That's what that is. So I tend to use this for our left one. It's more of like a kind of matte shader. Um, Actually, and like I was talking, I said just to get a different angle on things, I'm noticing this surface is a bit negative through here. So you can come and kind of pull these out. Yeah, there's definitely still a negative there, but I can tune that later. That's all right. Right, and here I'm just going to fill this in with a triangle. And then when I get to the end of triangles, I just turn them a little and let go. Let's come back and just make sure that that's not looking too bad. Set it again, sorry. That's good. Make sure all these edges are filled in. Look at them from different angles. Awesome. I'm going to save this. Yeah, so I'm at like 51 minutes now. Quite a bit left to do, but that's okay. I think I'll do a time lapse. Actually, I'll speak for a little bit longer. I'll make this a good hour. I'll probably finish this, and then I'll just do a time lapse for the rest of it, because you guys should get the gist of what I'm doing here. I think for this one, I'm gonna come down and see if I can turn that corner and go all the way with one surface. Kind of want a little bit of a negative, just so I can get a little section through there. Put these close together, turn the corner. Oops. And this will be fairly, well, not flat, but it'll definitely have a positive feel to it. This is a pretty long surface, so I'm just dragging out and moving the scene towards me, placing the points, and that's that. So this is a little funky through here, but I'm just going to hide that way. Maybe I didn't want that negative. It would be fairly flat. I definitely would need some more rows in here to define it, but I think that should be okay. Yeah, I think in the sketch I have this actually as a light catcher right here, so the surface might be a little more positive, but I think for now I'm gonna leave it, and I can always mess around with that later. Now I'll just do this with a rocker. Oop, can't see that line. Again, just pulling it and dragging the whole scene with the left grip there. And we'll just do a couple more like that. Oops. Just missed the end. And that's the rocker under there. And it's, yeah, these body sides are fairly linear, so I think I can knock these out pretty quickly. Again, if you pay attention to how many points you pull out, you can snap these so you get a little better edge continuity. But I don't typically do that, just to keep this kind of sketch style. I think the software itself lends itself to that. That's why I've been doing these nice sketched lines with surfaces, filling in with color, because the software kind of just lends itself to that with its tools, which is nice. Obviously you had some, if you get more realistic shaders and stuff, and you can obviously make them a little bit more finalized. But again, at this stage, I'm not sure if that's necessary. It would be nice to, I jump between a bunch of software every day. Modo, Alias, Speedform, VRED or Visualize. They all have their little tools that kind of help, or they're good at a couple few things, but you need them all to kind of do everything. And you can do a lot in one software. I just find that I tend to jump between softwares just for the one tool that makes my life easier. The main reason I use Modo for all my polygon is the fall off tool and the retopology tool, just so you can make new geometry off of some kind of rougher data. And then the fall off tool I use a lot to form things, so I can just draw out a rough surface or a rough edge and kind of bend it. Something like these wheel arches, I can draw out a cap of a cylinder and bevel it to get a nice kind of torus, flat torus, and then I use the fall off to bend it, which I'll show later on. And I showed in one of my other videos, so I'll hopefully get into a little more depth with some of those tools. And then Speedform converts, I use that to convert the subdivision data to NURBS, and then Alias to trim out some stuff, cut lines and graphics and stuff like that, so I can send them into a visualization software like VRED, or Visualize, depending on what software you have available to you. You can use either. They have the same function, especially for a lot of the real-time stuff. I do a lot of real-time evaluation at work in the OpenGL settings, just to get a quick look at kind of color and material, and you can set a turntable and spin the car around and take a look at it. I think I want a couple more points here. Okay, so that's pretty good. Oh, nice. I still have a couple more minutes. Let's see if we can get this area done. All right. I think I'm going to have a kind of bigger radius through here. I'm not sure if that'll be sharp. That way I can get a blend through this whole area. But I'll do that in subdivision modeling. That's the other good thing about subdivision modeling. It's always continuous. You always have G2 continuity, so you don't ever have to worry about hard breaks or making sure things blend. Sometimes you'll get some funky highlights and stuff, but I think while you're still developing the form, trying to figure out where you want blends and softer and harder edges, it's really useful. So I think I'm going to mimic what I did on the front here with this sketch, and maybe have this bend like that. And I think up here as well. So I do want to keep that curve like that. I'm just going to draw a new curve. And you could put your surface, your layers over there, so they're always kind of near you. Oh, I guess I've been working on the sketch lines. I'll have to put those all on the surface layer. Yeah. Oh, I must have changed it. Anyway, so I want this to come like that. We'll do something like this in here. I think that'll be good for that opening. So actually, I'm just gonna. Actually, I'll do that. Not record it. No, I'll do that later. Just gonna switch back to surface. Working surface. Now I'll just make this one here. That's another thing, is it always makes sense to pay attention to what layers you're working on. It's good file management or file organization. But there's not a lot going on with this file, so it's not too bad. Right, I'm going to add one more in here. Oops. So I can, maybe I want this to come to there. Yeah, I'll have that come to that point down there. That'll help this surface. Oops. So that's good. Let's get this edge tuned up. And then in the next video, I'll just time lapse a lot of this. It gets a bit repetitive. I don't have that much more to say. So I hope you enjoyed this part, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.